Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another Drama-Free Friday. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. How's everybody doing today? Oh. Okay. I just got a message on a computer. I'm like, oh, what is that? Sorry. Shiny things catch my attention, so do messages on computers. Hi, Pekka and Ian and Dorothy, Nancy, Miriam. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Debbie. Ian's doing fine. Good. Ian, I got my tankard for you. I got my tankard of tea. Just for you. I got a tankard of tea, Ian. Debbie, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Or maybe I'm just have done a lot of stuff and forgot I saw you. I'm good. I'm just a little, typically frazzled. It's Friday and I don't know if you guys do this, but I try to put way too much stuff into the few hours I have before I come on and stream. I try to put too much stuff in there. Yeah, I know that Race, who I saw was in the chat, I know that Race understands that because he's lived around me. Guys, we haven't lived together for the last 16 years, but he has lived around me long enough to know. Yeah, that's what I do. Debbie's been working. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Patty. Hi, Shells. Let's see, who else I missed? Nanette. Hey, Ruth. Barb Ross is here. You like my hair? It's just about time to get it cut again. But thank you. Hi, Ina. So nice to see you, Ina. Ina, where are you from? Are you in the States? Are you outside the United States? I've forgotten. I know you, but I just have forgotten where you live. Not anytime I ask that, by the way, if somebody doesn't want to say where they live, just make something up. It's okay. Yeah, Debbie says she's never crammed too much stuff in her day. Not. I knew if you said that you were lying. Hi, Alice. Hi, Michelle. We got a couple Michelles here. Hi, Kasha. Nice to see you today. Hi, Laura. Let's see. Oh, you're coming from Dee Dee's channel? Oh, great. Nice to have you join us. Patricia, I'm just waiting until everybody comes. Hey, Pekka. Miriam's from Venus. Good one, Miriam. Hi, Magdalena. And Ian is from somewhere over the rainbow. Yeah, I love chatting with you guys. Just saying hello to everybody and just getting a chance. Hi, Nicole. Nicole Creations. What a cool name. Hi, Pin. Haven't seen you for a while. Uruguay. That is just... Hi, Linda. I look Christmas-ish. That's right. I'm Christmas-ish today. I got red lipstick and a green shirt, and I got on my Santa. This is a Claus Man Santa. He's kind of doing his own thing here. Yeah, this is a Claus Man Santa. These are resin reproductions. This is a resin reproduction of one of his original wood carvings. We have a line of those. Hi, Dagmar. Dagmar. Sorry. Glasses. Gotta get close enough to see it. Ruth says, no, from a hairdresser standpoint, love it. Love the link. I know, but you don't live on this side of the computer camera and have to deal with it every day, Miss Ruth. Hi, Jane. Hey, Lindy. Oh, it's just great to have you guys all here. So we're just chatting a minute. I'm just saying hello to everybody. So those of you watching the recording, welcome, by the way. And if you're watching the recording, just fast forward through all the romper room hellos, because it's the only time that I really get to look at the chat. The the rest of the time I'm just catching little bits and pieces of the chat. So Patty's from a galaxy far, far away. Ian's from somewhere over the rainbow. So far, Magdalena is the only one that's been honest and said she was from Uruguay. Hi, Scooby. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Scooby. Hi, Paula. Glad you made it too. Yeah, Miriam is giving me all kinds of, she's giving me all kinds of crap about the ugly woman again. I'm telling you, you guys and that ugly woman, some of these days I'm going to paint that stupid ugly woman just to get you guys to see how ugly she really is. And Lindy lives below a bridge, so there you go. Ina's in the Netherlands. Okay. Hi, Narda. I sort of, Ina, that kind of rang a bell, but I was hesitant to say. So we've got people from every place in the universe, I think. Yeah, Debbie says, yay, we got witnesses. She's going to paint the ugly woman. Oh, you guys are terrible. Alice is from Nashville. So Alice, since you're in that area, I'm sure you are well familiar with everything that went on with the Gatlinburg area and the fires. Has that calmed down? I hope. I haven't kept up with it, honestly. I should know, but I haven't. Debbie lives in low places. Paint the ugly woman. Patty says paint the ugly woman in glow-in-the-dark paint. You know what? I am fresh out of glow-in-the-dark paint. That is so sad. That is so sad. I would if I could. I would if I could. See my head? I would if I could. Yeah, Debbie wants me to paint the ugly woman and auction her off. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The bidding would start at 2 cents and go up from there. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well today. Nicole's in Jamaica. Hey, that's great. I don't know that I've ever had anybody in the live chat from Jamaica. That's great. Patty says, why don't I believe that? I don't know, Patty. I don't know. Yeah, Debbie says she'd bid dollars. Mm-hmm. I believe it. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? We have 50 some people here and listening to me banter away. Anyway, as I said, if you're watching the recording, the YouTube recording after this is over with, here's the thing. YouTube provides great tools. And one of those is the scroll bar at the bottom of the screen. You can just drag that little scroll bar right on over and just pass right through all the silliness of the live chat. You also can go over and click the gear button and you can change the resolution if you're having trouble seeing the stream the way you want to see it. If it's halting or buffering or whatever, you can change that. You can also speed it up. And you can speed it up to, I think, double time and something else. So yeah, there you go. There's ways to watch it. And that's cool that Ustream, or that YouTube does that. Okay. Race Owen says, Race is supposed to be on my side, by the way, when I read you what he said. He says, I'm sure the chat would gladly send you some paint and glitter. Race, you and I will have to have a chat. And Miriam says she's gonna buy a ticket to the auction for the ugly woman. All right, you guys, that just may happen. Okay, Ian has changed his address and now he's on the planet Alderaan. I don't even know where that is. That probably makes me sound really stupid, but I don't know. And Alice says Gatlinburg opens next Friday. Wow. That's amazing. I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for them. Yeah, I have a joke about the planets, but I can't tell it while I'm recording, so that will have to be saved for another day. I need to protect my reputation that I'm really very sweet and never say any bad words or anything. Okay, confetti and glitter. All right, let's get crack-a-lackin'. I'm just sitting here yapping away. So I'm going to tell you guys that I got the very best. I mean, I've gotten some nice things in my day. I've been things that have been mailed to me. But what I received in the mail this week, I don't know, those of you that are with me on the website, especially the VIP people on the website, in the VIP classes, I tend sometimes I get a little verklempt, shall we say. And so you know that I can tend to get a little, my emotions run a little close to the surface. Let's just say that. How's that? So when this came, it just warmed my heart all over the place. And you're going to understand why when I explain it to you. And so if I get a little weepy or I just stop talking for a minute, I'm going to try really hard not to do that. If it happens, you'll know why. Okay, so this is what I have. Let's see if I can get all my junk out of the way so you can get just a picture of this. All right, so I'm going to show this to you. This is a fabric postcard. It arrived in the mail. And on the back of it, this has my post office box address on here, which I don't mind if the world sees, that's okay. It says postcard, and this came through the mail from San Diego, and it said, "Hi, Ms. Owen. My name is Paxton, and I made this card for you. Happy holidays, Paxton." And he signed it in different colors. And Paxton is a little boy. So I'm going to show this to you so you can see that this is from Paxton. And I'm going to read you what his teacher said. But look at this. Isn't this cute? Look at that. "This warms my heart so much I cannot even tell you. For a variety of reasons." But it has gold and it has all kinds of colors and stamping and drawing and all kinds of things. Isn't that amazing? And in the chat, Paxton, if you are listening or listening to me later, people are saying beautiful. That it's just beautiful and and everybody is loving it. Okay. So this is the postcard, and I'm going to read you a little bit of the letter that also came in the mail, the same mail, but one was in an envelope and the other was not. And so this is what she says. I'm going to read you just bits and pieces of it. She says, "Hi, Barb. Thank you for inspiring, ... You may remember me commenting on your Art Sparks cards video." So you guys remember the Art Sparks cards that we did several weeks ago? "And mentioning that I was teaching a 10-year-old. This little boy is 10. Okay? 10. He made his fabric and then made some postcards." So he was using, I think some of his inspiration came from that stream or something. "The first card we mailed to his home to surprise his family, and it did. If you haven't already, you should be receiving your Paxton-made postcard soon. His mother has given permission for him to send the postcard that he made for you, and it's fine with you sharing it with your viewers, if you care to." Really? If I care to, this is my favorite thing. Children, I mean, I love to inspire adults, but if I've inspired a child to get creative, that's a lifelong thing, you know? And I am just so excited about that. So this is how he did it. He began with a piece of 100% cotton. It was white. And then he dripped textile paint on it. He sprayed water and he blew on it. He stamped using handmade stamps and textile paint. He used permanent markers for some mark making. He spritzed it with diluted textile paint. And then in parentheses, she said, he loves that gold sparkle. And I had to stop him. The top fabric was then sandwiched between Timtex, which is a really heavy interfacing, and thin batting with spray-based, and he added a little machine quilting. He used a cardstock frame to spy the area he wanted, so to figure out, what part of the fabric he wanted. That he wanted for the front of the card, and then he cut it out. The back piece is of the original white fabric that he had stiffened with some kind of spray stabilizer. He wrote on the back card back, and glued the sandwich and back together, and then zigzag stitched around the postcard to finish the edge. Several times during the making of the fabric and postcards, Paxton said that this project was the most fun. And we have made a lot of projects in the past 3 years. Warm regards, Anne. And Anne is Anne Scott, and she is Fiber Designs by Anne. So I'm going to spell that because I forgot to put it in the links below the description, or in the description. It's Fiber, F-I-B-E-R, Designs, D-E-S-I-G-N-S, by B-Y-A-N-N. So it's F-I-B-E-R, D-E-S-I-G-N-S, B-Y-A-N-N.com. Yeah. I think I would deserve a round of applause because I made it all the way through that with barely getting choked up, and that is like some kind of flippin' miracle. Yes. But I'm telling you, this, Paxton, thank you so very much for your postcard. I hope you get to see this, Paxton, because I want you to know how very much, get the camera out of here, how very, very much I love this card. And you can send me cards any day, anytime that you make for me. Keep up the creative work. You're doing great. And everybody in the chat, right now we have 76 people or so watching, and everybody in the chat agrees with me. And these are people from all over the world, Paxton. So everybody's going to you. Lots of clappy hands happening in the chat for you. And so many things going, way to go, Paxton. So cool. Beautiful postcard, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. Made my day, people. Made my day. Okay. Now, having said that, I love inspiring inspiring anyone to do anything. I count it one of the huge blessings of my life that I get to do this job because I love this job. I love what I do. I love creating. I love making stuff. I'm not a professional at any one thing. I'm just a professional maker of stuff. I'm a professional experimenter. And I hope I'm a professional inspirer because that's what I love to do. And Shell says, Paxton is a rock star. He is. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I just love, I couldn't not share it with you. Okay, so that was that. Also, I wanted to tell you that Nikki Beauty Bliss, who is the technical department's girlfriend, is streaming every day in December. I think I said that last week. And so I've been watching her live most of the time. And sometimes I haven't been able to catch her. I'm telling you what, if you want to laugh, that girl, she is beautiful. And she does some great stuff. But that girl is hysterical. It's Nikki Beauty Bliss, Nikki, Nikki Beauty Bliss on YouTube. And she streams at 6, Eastern time. It's going to be 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And she's doing it every night. Okay. The other night, she wrapped packages. Kind of. And I was in bed watching this, I was trying not to wake Clausman up because I went to bed late, and I had the covers pulled over my head, and I was watching this with, my earbud in, and I'm watching her manhandle this poor gift she was trying to wrap with gift wrap. And I'm either going to have to give her gift wrap lessons, or she's going to have to fess up that she really knows how to wrap presents, because I'm telling you, it just about killed me. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, Lindy's been watching her. Hi, Rhonda from Australia. Good morning. Hey, Zandra, and anybody that I happen to miss. Anybody. Hi, Janice. I'm just seeing a few people's names. Hi, Brenda. Haven't seen you forever. Nikki Beauty Bliss. Nikki Beauty Bliss. Nikki Beauty Bliss. Yeah, she's on YouTube. And she is, I'm telling you, if she really wraps presents like that, it could be an entertaining holiday season. So if you guys enjoy, seeing, she's a very beautiful girl, and she's funny. She has a good sense of humor, and she gives out a lot of information. But the classic was the gift wrapping episode that happened this week. I'm telling you, you guys if you really want a good laugh, you need to go watch that one. Hi, Deborah. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Brenda. Hey, Mika. Mika's little phantom. All right. Shall we play a little bit? I think we should. Let me get rid of the illegal fluids, because technical department's in the house. This has got to go. All right, let me get rid of this. Off the table, safely, far, far away. So what we're going to do, we're going to just kind of do a hodgepodge of things. Whoops, sorry, bad camera work. Yes, bad camera work. Oh well. You guys are used to that by now. We're going to play around with the Gelli Plate for just a few minutes. We're going to make several pieces of paper. Does that sound okay with you guys? Yeah, Ray says, place your fluids anywhere you want. Sure. He doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that for 1 second. Not 1 second. If you hear a bunch of rustling, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a bunch of rustling going on behind door number 1. And that would be because there's a cat in there who is upset that the door got shut. If you follow me on Twitter, you got to see him commandeer my Twitter account today. That would be Chance. Charlie doesn't care. Chance cares a lot about what happens there. Okay. So we've got the 8x10 Gelli Plate opened up here. Petka wants a Gelli Plate for Christmas. Let's see. Just checking the chat here. Linda McAllister wants to know what I make with a Gelli Plate. You just have to stick around. Hey, Pavla. And Ruth says, any shade of purple will be fine. Okay, so this is the Gelli Plate, 8x10. It's not exactly totally square anymore because it's been around for a while. What I'm going to be printing on, this is just text paper. This happens to be 24 pound, so it's a little bit heavier than what I usually print on. And I'm just going to do a few sheets of it, and then we're going to set those aside to dry, and we're going to just keep on going with some other things too. All right, so what I'm doing here is I have a big tablet of Canson mixed media paper. And pretty much, I think everything that I do today, I've tried to link below in the video description so you can see what I'm doing. I use that to clean off my brayer. I will be using some very simple tools today. I'm going to use, hey Josie, good to see you. So what I'm going to be using is a Speedball Brayer. I really like this one. I have several brayers. I really like the Speedball one. I'm going to use a couple of tools here. This is a catalyst tool. This happens to be the W-03, and this is a Martha Stewart tool. And then I have some style sticks. Some of them are wedged shape and some of them are round. So I don't know. I just got those out. I don't know what I'll use. I'm just showing you what I got. I did not get out any stencils because I don't want to turn this into a totally jelly plating show. And then I have some print plates that I made using fun foam. Okay, so that's what we have. And we're going to keep the paint very, very light. The paint layers very, very light. Hi, Marion. Good to see you. If there's anybody in the chat that wants to get something specifically to me, to say to me, be sure you put it in caps because I don't see it. Sometimes I don't even see it in the caps, which is kind of silly, but it happens. All right, so we're going to just play around and we're going to start with some green paint. And I'm going to endeavor to do very, very light coats of paint. So sometimes it takes a minute to decide how much paint the plate is going to accept. It's not the plate's fault, it's my fault. I don't care if I totally cover it because I want really super thin layers of paint. And as soon as I say that, then I totally cover the plate. Of course. And then I'm cleaning the brayer off on that mixed media paper that I showed you, the big white tablet. Okay, so all I'm going to do is draw some designs. When you work with your jelly plate, you want to use very, very, very light, you want tools that are very soft. I don't use anything that's hard and scratchy. All right, so I'm going to put this on here, and I want to kind of cover it edge to edge, so it will take me a few times to get that accomplished. So then you just simply put the paper down there and pick up, and I'm going to kill a light here just a second so you can see a little better. One of my lights kind of wipes out everything. Then I'm going to take another piece of paper and I'm going to pick up everything that's left. All right, so that's what we got going on. So I'm going to do another layer of green. See if I can put less paint on it this time. And add another color. And I'm not, there's colors that you really want to know, tell me and I will tell you what they are. Yeah, Ruth says, what shade of purple is green? I know, Ruth. Sad. It's so sad. Now, the trick with the jelly plate is you have to have enough paint that it doesn't dry before you get the print pulled, but not so much paint that you cause yourself problems. So basically what you're going to do here, you're just going to get to watch me do this. Okay, so that's what we just did just then. And sometimes, sometimes you look at it and you go, well, that, is background, and that's about all you can say for that one. And that's true. Let's do another green. And I'm using a mixture of some student grade paints and some, whoops, that's a lot. Some student grade paints and some craft acrylic paints. I'm not using anything fancy today. So brayer an even coat. Clean off the brayer. That's what I'm doing every time on my mixed media paper. And then I have these print plates. This one is with dots. Let's see if we can do some of this. And you can use this like a big stamp pad. So we'll do both of these on here. So I'm just kind of wiggling these plates, and then I'm going to pull this off to the side. I'm going to get my sheet of paper here. I'm going to pull this off, and we'll see if we can stamp with it. So you can see some of the green coming off. If I had more paint on my plate, then it would stamp even more. Let's turn this over and see if we get any more this way. So a little bit, not a lot. So let's go back to this one and pull, see if we can pull what's here. I find that you do need to work rather quickly with Gelli Plate printing so that the paint, especially if you're working in thin layers, you need to work rather quickly so you can pull things off the plate. Okay, so there's a fun print. All right, let's switch, because I'm not after very many sheets of paper here, just a few. Let's go to a gold. Let's put some gold on the plate. And this is Basics, Liquitex Basics. Bye, Race. Have a good day. Good to see ya. Always. So there's some gold, and let's just work with that. Let's see what happens if we do just gold. My gold paint is drying a little bit in the tube. It's kind of sketchy. All right, let's go back to this one. And let's do some texture. Yeah, this isn't even going to come off the plate. It's too dry. Okay, when that happens, I can see it dragging on here. So when that happens, I'm going to let this dry. And if you have a hair dryer available, that's what you want to use. I'm using a heat gun, and I'm going to use it. Okay, listen to me real carefully when I tell you this. I'm going to use my heat gun to dry this, but I'm going to have it way far above my plate. Okay, so that you really would be better off with a hairdryer. Just telling you. I don't have one here. So I'm going to dry this from very high up. Yeah, I can put the illegal drinks back on the table now because he's gone, right? See, it dried so fast. It was almost dry from the get-go. All right, so let's put, let's go back over the top of this with, let's just put some green on it. Yeah, we'll just put green on it. See if we can pull it up with this. So what happens when you dry the plate, you dry paint on the plate, is that you need to put wet paint over the top of it. And a more liquid paint is better, so it'll be interesting to see if this works. It could, or not. And then you put a sheet of paper on it, and you need to rub it for a little bit. Yeah, you really want to only use a hairdryer, but I don't have one down here, so I use my heat gun very far away from it. So I'm not telling you to use a heat gun, I'm telling you to use a hairdryer. Okay? As my mother used to say, do as I say, not as I do. All right, let's see if this will pull up. Yeah, okay. So you see what's happening? It's pulling up all the gold paint that we put down there, or most of it. It left a tiny little bit. And then you end up with this. So it pulled up all the gold, it pulled up all the stuff that was left on the plate, and yeah, you get a really good looking print out of it. So we're not going to do any more to this one at all. But that's what happened. That's called a cleanup print, and that purely came from the gold being too dry to be able to use on the plate. So I'm not going to use that gold anymore for this, okay? But that's pretty cool. Very sparkly, very glimmery. Okay, let's switch to red. Let's do some reds. Yeah, only cool settings to dry the plate. Only cool. Or very, very, very far away with your heat gun. Some people get that hair dryer right down on the surface of the plate, you know, when they're drying it. Well, I don't do that. I hold everything quite at a distance. So, you know, unless you are really blasting the thing with intense heat right down on it, you are not likely to have it burst into flames on you. But they do warn you not to have it around heat. So there you go. Okay, so I used a couple of colors of red. One was metallic. One was just a regular red. It was, it's actually called magenta, but it looks very red to me. So, yeah. All right, so let's go back and texture this. Let's texture it with some texture tools. So I'm doing some circles. And let's see if we can pick up some bits and pieces. Okay, so we got a little bit of that going on. Let's see if I can fill up the edge of this. I'm just trying to get some edge to edge color on this. All right, let's take this one, which has got some spaces. Let's see if we can fill that up. Okay, so I'm just doing some of that. And then we'll see if we can pull up some of this along this edge. So I'm trying to fill in the white spaces here. Okay, so we've got the sheet almost filled. And then we'll just pick up the rest of it on a different piece of paper. Maybe this one. So we've got this one that's got a partial print on it. See if we can pull up the rest of this. Nope. So when it won't pull up, as it would not here, that means the paint has gotten too dry. Okay, hi Dorothy. Hi, Karen. So it is, it's too dry, and so that means that we got to do, you know, to get that to pull up, you have to do the same thing we did a second ago, and that's to put some paint on it that is more liquid. So I'm going to use white craft paint is what I'm going to put on it. This is Snow Titanium White. This is already pretty dry. Dangerous. I'm taking the lid off. Whew. Living dangerously here. Probably was a little bit much, but hey, let's go for it. See what happens. Okay, we're just trying to spread the paint, an even coat of the thinner paint over the dried stuff. And let's take this piece of paper right here. This has got a little bit of green on it. Let's see what we can pull up. And you want to put some pressure on this when you're rubbing it. So I'm putting a little bit of pressure on with my hand. So let's see. So it pulled most of it up. Okay, so there's what we have. And what I'm after in doing this process today is I'm just after getting some colors on the paper and not having it build up too much. So I want this to stay fairly thin, okay? That's what I'm after. So we've got that sheet. We have this one. We're just after color at the moment. This one. And we have this one. Okay, so that'll work. That'll work. We'll put a little bit more paint on here. Let's go with I have a metallic green. This is Peridot. Spread the jolly, not the paint. Okay, so we're going to go with some metallic craft paint. This is from Folk Art. This is Peridot, I think. Folk Art, is that what I'm using? Folk Art Peridot, yep. Okay, let's just add some stripes again. Some zigzag stripes. And then maybe we'll add some stripes going the other direction that are straight. All right. Now, what I want to try and do is fill in what I have that's still white. So we're going to see if we can pull up some of this. I'm just after color, okay? This is not a lesson in fine Gelli Plate printing. This is a lesson in making papers, just colorful, Christmassy papers. So this is the one we have, so we're going to see if we can get some of that. Okay, so I've got that. I want to put a little bit here. All right, so we've got this one pretty well filled with color. so that's fine. We have this one that needs work along there, so let's see if we can pull up some color there. It's fun to just pull up various patterns and colors, okay, and get variety. That's the other thing, is I'm after variety. So see if we can pull this. Okay, so we've got this little bit around here. Let's see if we can get something on that. Nope. Let's try this end over here. As the plate gets dry, it starts rebelling about pulling off. Okay, it's done. It won't pull off anymore. So I'm going to waft some heat over it again from very high above the plate, at least 8 or 10 inches above the plate. Ilona, I see you're here. I just saw you in the chat. I sent you an email. Would you check your email? And because what I wanted to do was to make sure I had your mailing address correct. So if you would check your email and let me know, that would be great. Thank you. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program. All right. Again, I'm very high up I'm just mostly getting warm air going over the plate. That's all I'm getting. I'm very high up. Let me see if I can show you how high up I am. See if I can get my other camera up here. Okay, you see how you can't even see it? You can just barely see it at the top. That's how high up I am, just so you know. Okay, and this time let's just use white paint again, just because it's here. See if we can pull this up, because we're about done using the Gelli Plate for this moment. Thanks, Ilona. I'm trying not to put too much paint on here. You want enough, but you don't want too much. You want enough to cover the plate, but not so much that it's dripping down the sides. Because what we want to do is have the wet paint activate the dry paint, and then pull it all up in one shot. And I'm not going to do anything to this except pull it up, because I'm pretty much done using the plate. We have enough papers here to do what I want to do. Patty has been busy. She says she's working on Tam Laporte's Art, Heart, and Healing class, and she's up to page 17 on Christy Sobolewski's 30-page videos. You have been busy, girl. That's great. And Linda says what she does when the paint is dry, she sprays a little water on top and then waits a little bit and prints with it. Yeah, that is a great idea. Great idea. But see how that's pulled pretty much everything off the plate? And then you get these really interesting cleanup prints that, for what I'm going to do today, will work just fine. That's cool. There's a little bit more down in this corner. I'm going to see if by some chance I can get that to come up. No, of course not. Okay, I'm done with the plate. I'm just going to set it off. I'm going to set the plate off the table, and I'll clean it up and put it away after a while. Some people clean up their plates, some people don't clean up their plates. And that thing that I was working on was a piece of plexiglass that I have duct tape around the edges, keep it from cutting me. Even though it's plexiglass and not real glass, it can still cut you. But I have it on plexiglass because that's easy for me to use. And then when I'm teaching a class, if I'm done using it, I'll just put it off to the side and I don't have to do anything with it. As I started to say, some people clean their plates, some people don't. That is purely personal preference. I like to start with a clean plate every time I jelly plate just because that's how I am. It's kind of like cleaning stencils. I like to have clean stencils for the most part. Okay, so we're going to come back and we are going to, I'm just going to hit these with a heat gun just to make sure they're completely dry. So I'm just heating it with a heat gun to make sure it's dry. And then we're going to use the brayer paper, and we're going to actually put some other paint colors on the brayer paper. So I just want these good and dry because we'll use these in a little bit. So I thought we'd do a couple of things today. We'd make some tags, and then we'd make some of these stars that I enjoy. This one's dry, so there's that one. It's dry. This one is dry. Let's see, if you don't use real thick layers of paint, it dries very fast. Okay, they're all dry. Good enough. Good enough. All right, then we can set those to the side. So we have 5 pieces of paper. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of Christmassy colors. All right, now we're going to switch and we're going to go to, this is the paper that I was cleaning the brayer on, and we're going to add a little more paint to this. So I ripped it out of the big tablet. And I love having these paints, these papers, especially these big ones, done like this. So this is, I think, let's see what size it is. This is 14 by 17. So this is 17 across and 14 down, the way I have it laid here. Dorothy says she likes to keep her stuff clean too. I'm glad. And Dorothy, I'm glad I'm not the only one. It happens. Okay, back to the paper. Okay, so this is a disposable palette. This one happens to be by Master's Touch. This is not my favorite one. I actually prefer the Strathmore one, but don't have that one. This is what I got the last time I got it. So anyway, this is just a disposable palette. I'm going to use the same brayer. And on this sheet of paper, I'm going to add some, how about some bronze? That'll be good. Or copper. What is this? Copper, actually. Okay. Let's put a little sparkly on this, shall we? Oh, this is another one of those that's gloopy. All right. I don't know why my metallics are gloopy on me. We'll see if we can get it to work. So I'm going to brayer it out on the palette. See, when it looks like that, that's gloopy. You know. That's all right. We'll make it work. And I'm going to just add some paint with the brayer around the page. And I'm going to pick up some more off the palette and just add some more. Because I love having paper that I've done myself. And I like these brayer papers. I like doing it with the brayer because the brayer makes it very flat. And you can do it with this. You can do it with a scraper. It gives you a totally different look. All right, so there's what we have so far. And I'm doing this entirely with a brayer. And I love the way this works with the brayer. All right, so let's add another color of paint on here. How about if we use this? This is bright red, which is a total lie because it's not. But, you know, it's as bright as they come up with. It's like pinky red. It is not my favorite color. However, it's metallic, so we'll get a little glitz out of it. But if you don't like pink, you're probably not going to like this color. But I love doing this with a brayer. The brayer just makes the paint so flat. All right, and that's all I'm going to do to this. So I'm going to show it to you this way, and I'm going to go up. Just because it pretty much fits on the screen, just so you can see it. How can anyone not like pink? There are plenty of people, Debbie, unfortunately, that don't like pink. If you don't believe it, just listen. Okay, so this is pretty much dried on this side. Even though we just painted it, it is pretty dry. So we're going to flip it over, and we're going to paint the back side of it, and I'm going to paint it with yellows and golds. So I'm digging for some yellows. I'll be right there. Hang on just a second. Okay. So we've got those. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to work on the same palette. You can see where I've been brayering it out. I'm going to do the same thing. The reason I do this on the palette is because it allows me to get this really thin coat of paint on the brayer to begin with. So it really spreads that paint out all over the brayer. And then I just lightly start adding color around the page. And I go until I can't get any more paint off my palette, trying to remember to catch the edges as well. And I usually do this standing up. I'm not today because I would blast you guys out with being, and besides that I might hit the microphone. We don't want to do that. But once I've got the color on here, and it's going to come off in these blocky shapes, and I like that. So, yeah. So I use that. So I'm going to use another color of yellow. Let's use a brighter yellow. This is lemon yellow from Americana. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that. So again, I just put it out in a line. Spread it out. And the cool thing about this too is that these papers that you do with picking up the paint, these are perfectly usable papers too. And of course I didn't pick up quite enough paint, so we're going to put some more paint out. And I find that when I do this kind of stuff, when I make papers, decorate, whatever you want to call, paint papers, whatever you want to call it, when I do it this way, I find that the faster I go, the better results I get. Okay, so we've got two colors of yellow. We've got that, the first one that I used was yellow ochre, and the next one I used was this lemon yellow. All right, I'm going to use a metallic. So this metallic is Dazzling Metallics Emperor's Gold, one of my very favorite, all-time favorite golds. And see how liquidy that is by comparison to the Liquitex Basics. My Liquitex Basics is just about shot. And I have a craft mat on my table, so when I'm running off the edge, it's okay. And now, just because I like to have variety in it, I'm going to add a little bit of the Brilliant Yellow Green, which is Liquitex Brilliant Yellow Green. So I'm going to use a little bit of that. That's one of the colors that I use a lot in a lot of the things I do. It goes with about everything. So I'm not after even coverage. I'm not after the very same color. I'm after a variety. And that's what you're going to see happening here. So just a little bit of green. All right, so there you go. So we have this paper. Wham, bam, got it done. And as I said, these papers from the palette, once this is dry, this makes a great collage paper and so forth as well. Here's a couple more that I have. So these are palette papers. This one is gold, highly reflective. But those make great papers to use for future projects also. So you don't, sometimes I throw them away, but a lot of times I keep them. If you want to clean your brayer, put this in a bucket or a container of hot water with Murphy oil soap and let it soak for a while, and it will take all that stuff off. If you wait too long and you build up thousands of layers or dozens of layers of acrylic paint on your brayer, if you build up tons of layers of paint, it will take it a long time, but you can get it off. All right, so there's that side and there's that side, just so you can see. We have two sides. I have some other ones I'll show you. So here is green, different greens. This is all different colors. This was from Gelli Plate printing. This is left over from Gelli Plate printing as well. So it has lots of different colors. And you can see different stencils and so forth. So I'll use these papers for a long time until I finally give up and pick up a new piece. Same kind of thing here. This looks like I did some spraying on it. But I love having these great big pieces of paper to work with. Here's one done totally in reds and golds. Okay, but very, this is all done with the brayer. So I did it last night. And here's another side. This was done last night, so this is all greens and golds. Done only with the brayer to create the texture and the color. All right, so we're going to set, and this is the one that we just did, and the yellows and golds and the reds and golds and a little bit of green. Okay, so we have those done. Those are ready. At this point, I'm going to clean up my surface just a smidge because some of that paint is a little tacky, and there's no point in getting that transferred to other things. So we're going to clean this up. And my mat is absolutely atrocious, but you know what? I don't have the heart to throw it away because it's still decent. This is not my favorite mat in the whole world, but it's still working, so you know, you got to keep using it. Every craft mat, in case you don't know this, every craft mat will go south. Every craft mat. So you're not going to be able to buy one craft mat and have it be the only one you ever buy. You're going to have to keep reinvesting in them because they will all stain. They will all do weird things. And as my son used to say, these are the wise words from the technical department. Well, the sun has just come out. Yes, we have lots of sunshine. Whoops, over here. These are the wise words from the technical department. And Mom, that's just the how of it. That's the wisdom of about a 4 or 5-year-old. He's right. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the papers. Okay, let's go back to our little paper stack. Gelli Plate papers. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these into strips. So we're going to take one or two. We'll do these two. We're going to cut them apart. Okay? So I'm just going to use my trimmer, and I'm going to cut these in about 1/2-inch strips. Let's see. That ought to work. Okay? And this is why it doesn't matter what the pages look like. I'm cutting them longwise, the length of the paper, and they don't really even matter if they're completely straight. So I'm going to cut a few of those, maybe one more. We'll cut 5 strips. And then I'm going to go to this one and we'll cut some of these. Let's do some of this side. Yeah, I actually have other craft mat. Well, that was a wide one. We really don't. About 1/2 inch is better width. This was 3/4. That's a little bit wide. Let's go back to 1/2 inch. I have other craft mats that you'll see me use from time to time. But the big one that I have on here is the one that covers most of the space I work in. Okay, so we've got some strips of paper from our Gelli Plate printed papers like this. Now, this is very scientific. This is not an original idea by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. But one year for Christmas, we did this for a couple of people in our family. And I took these strips of paper, and I had one decorative side, and then I had one plain side, as I recall. And I did things like, I remember the time we watched you in, Beauty and the Beast. You were fantastic. I'm glad we didn't miss it. Okay, or something of that sort. Any kind of message. Any kind of message. All right, then take your paper and you're going to tie a knot with the paper. Now it's paper, okay? So you got to be a little careful. But you're going to tie it in a knot down close to one end, like so. And you just kind of have to monkey around with it because it is paper. It doesn't like to do this. And you do it as much as you can. So tie it in a knot just like this. Okay? And then, yeah, Debbie says she has a grateful jar that she uses strips for. That's cool. Yeah, I have one of those too. I love that. Mine's called, what is my jar called? Gratitude and Awesome Sauce. Yeah. Then I just take that little tag end, and I just bend it over. Then you're going to turn it over, and you're going to take the, the pretty side needs to stay out. And then it will fold right over. This makes a 5-pointed shape. And then you just turn it and let the paper fold as it wants to fold. And it will do this. I mean, I don't understand quite how it works, but yeah, it does. Usually, she says. So just keep folding, keep folding, keep folding, and it has a, it finds its own place that it needs to fold. And then you have to find a spot where it can tuck in. So you have a little place here where it can tuck in, or you can back up. If I hadn't written on it already, I could back up and I could tuck it under here, cut it off and tuck it under there. So we're gonna make it tuck on this side. Let's see, how do I want to do this? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold the paper. I'm going to fold this little end back so I don't lose the words that I wrote. And then I'm going to tuck the folded end under, just like so. Okay, so I'm going to fold that, tuck it under. All right, so you have this little 5-pointed folded up thing. Some of them, it takes a while, even as many of them as I folded, it takes a while to get back into the habit of doing it. It's not perfect by any means, and then you just kind of squash the sides. This one's not going to work. Of course it's not. So we'll do another one in a minute, see if we can get it to work better. So you kind of squash the sides in, use your fingernail. And this poor thing is not going to be pretty. We'll get it though. And just kind of work with the points. And you end up getting it to create a little puffed star. Okay, now this is not the most beautiful one I ever made, I have to tell you. Okay, so this is not the most beautiful star that I ever did, but it's acceptable. You know, it's a wonky puffed star, but it's acceptable. It's not great, but it's acceptable. And then what you do is get a jar. If you like doing, if you like doing this kind of thing, which I do, you can make a whole bunch of these. Now these are just done with plain paper. All right, now this poor thing, I don't know what happened to it, and this is done with scrapbook paper, so it's not great. But the rest of these, like this is painted paper, and this is painted paper. And you can make them in different widths, strip widths. You can do the smaller, the narrower the strip, the tinier the stars. And if you do this and put them in a jar or a dish or whatever and give it to someone that you love, then can you imagine how fun it is for them to take one of these and take it apart, and then they unroll it and they get to read the message that you wrote for them on that particular day. Okay? That's the concept. All right, let's see if we can make some more. Debbie says she tried it and it works. It does work. I mean, I truly have not done them. You know, I should probably not admit this on stream, but I haven't done them with painted paper before. I've done them with sprayed paper, but I haven't done them with painted paper before. But let's try it again. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is tie a knot in the paper. This is not an original idea at all. A friend of mine told me about it, and so we folded dozens and dozens and dozens of these for a couple of people in our family and gave them as Christmas presents with things that we loved about them or things that we remembered, special memories, that kind of thing. You pretty much have to let the paper go where it wants to go. It is going to fold easily one direction. If you fuss, try to make it go a direction it doesn't want to go, it won't happen. Okay, and then sometimes what we did is when we got up here and there wasn't enough to make another round, then I would just trim this off. Now, if you've already written words on it, then you got to be a little careful that you're trimming. You might be trimming off your words. Okay, so there is my little star that I folded. All right, let's see if we can, this one should work better. You just start, I use my thumbnail and I push in the side. That's how I find it works best. And push in the side, turn it, push in the side, turn it, push in the side. Okay. And then I go back and just kind of pinch the little star points a little bit like so. This one worked much better. And then you end up with these little puffed stars. So Debbie says, hi Ellen. Yeah, Miriam says, too bad we have 6-pointed stars. I don't know how to do it 6-pointed. Debbie says she's going to make them for a Christmas party. And yeah, and Jessica says that she used magazine pictures too. Absolutely, it would be great. Hi, Anne. Oh, I'm telling you. Yes, please share the video with Paxton. It was great. It was great. I just love it. And I have a little package that I sent to you, and then you can share it with Paxton as you wish. Yeah, it's hard puffing them. It takes time to get into how to, to get the technique down. Every time I've done dozens and dozens of these, and you could see the one I did for you just a minute ago didn't work worth a bean, that happens. Okay, so let's do another one. All right, first thing you do, so we'll do a few more, and then we're going to go to another thing. So the first thing you got to do is tie the knot. And as I said, this is I think it's the tricky part. So you just have to work with it until you get it to where it kind of it just all of a sudden kind of works and kind of makes a knot. And then I take the little extra end and bend it over, okay? Then you bend the paper, and by the way it bends, so it was here. By the way it bends, it just naturally wants to follow this side. And then I just bend it over and see where it goes next. So the next time it wants to follow this side. And then that one. And then it just keeps following the sides. Yeah, so Jessica says if you ever need help, Google it, and it's on Pinterest. I'm sure this little star is like a bazillion places, right? What I like about it is, and then see, I've got not enough to come around, so I'll clip this off. So I've got enough to tuck in on this side. Okay, so to puff the star, because it's nice and flat. Let's see if I can go over here. Now, different people may have different ways of doing this, but here's the way that works for me. Let me zoom in real close. We'll see if I can make this work. Pardon the cruddy hands. It's winter and my hands just don't do well in the winter, so I'll try and keep my hands out of the... Yeah, like I can do that. Anyway, I use my thumbnail along the side, and I'm holding it by the top and the bottom, and then I use my thumbnail and just kind of gently poke in the side. Okay, so it like dents the side. Like that. It just kind of dents the side. Then I turn it, and then I do the same thing. I just kind of poke in the side. And then I keep turning and just keep poking in with my thumbnail and turn again and turn again. Then once it looks kind of star-like, then I just kind of pinch the points a little bit to make them, you know, a little more star-like. They're always going to look a little wonky. And some of them are way wonkier than others. Yeah, you have to, Miriam says she has to be married to tie the knot. Okay, let's try another one. We'll do it over here at this camera and see if I can make it. I just don't use this camera as much because my hands tend to look a little less than attractive up this close. Okay, make a knot. We'll just say make a knot. How's that? Miriam, is that better? You can just make a knot. Okay, make a knot. And when you have this end, you just kind of have to, sometimes if it's too long, you can cut off a little bit. All right, so I've got my knot. So I'm going to turn it over. Well, we'll work from here. It doesn't really matter. I want this on the outside. So I bend it along the foot, whatever the edge is here, however it wants to bend, you just bend it and it will follow the side. Turn it and bend it, and it's going to follow. It will switch sides on you. Okay, so the last time it followed this edge. Now as I do it, it wants to follow this edge. Turn it, follow, bend. It wants to follow this side. Then it wants to follow that side. And you just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. And when you finally get over here to where you're at the very end, then you decide whether it will fit inside, because there's always a little flap here for it to slip under. So you have to decide if you need to trim some off. And I usually had to trim some off. And then you just slip it under there, and it just holds the star closed. It's kind of magic, really. Okay, so there's our little 5-pointed shape, which is pretty remarkable that happens. They're artist hands. Yeah, they're artist hands. Yes, thinner paper is easier to manage. Yes, it is. That's why we're working with text weight paper. This is 24 pound. You can use 20 pound. This is 24 pound, and that's why we didn't put very much paint on it, because we didn't want it to get very thick. All right, so we've got our little shape. Then I tip it on edge and then poke in with my thumbnail. Some of them will some of them do it just like magic, and some of them just really give you a fit. So dent, dent, indent. And I don't know how else to tell you, but that's how it works the best for me, to just poke it in there with my thumbnail. And you can clearly tell I don't have much thumbnail because I keep my nails cut really short. And then I just kind of pinch the star points a little bit, and there you have your little puffed stars. Cute, huh? Hi, Miss Sally. So you just keep doing that, and then the next thing you know, you have a whole bag full, or you have a whole, what I did is, let me close the blinds because the sun's going to blind me in a minute. I love the sunshine, but that's a bit much. So then what we had was we bought some pretty clear jars. I've got paint everywhere. I bought some, this is red paint. This is not blood, by the way, just so you know. Some pretty, I think they were acrylic jars, and filled them with the stars that we wrote messages on. So it was fun. It was really fun to do. But anyway, aren't they pretty? So you don't have to do Gelli Plate printing, but this is a use for Gelli Plate printed paper. You just want to make sure that you keep the colors or the applications of paint really thin so that you can still bend the paper. Yeah. Miriam made a 6-pointed star. She says, don't ask how. She'll try to reproduce it. Okay, good. But I think it is, you know, the thing about it is you cannot have too much encouragement in your life. And so everybody needs to be encouraged, and everyone needs to know that their life has been seen by other people, especially people that are important to them. Everyone needs to know that that someone has witnessed and has seen their journey. And so that is the reason that I use these. Now, other people may do other things with them, but that's what I chose to do with them, to remind the people that I gave these to how much I cared about them, and how much all of the memories I had with them and all the things I saw them do, and how very proud I was to be a part of those experiences and share those experiences with them. The length that I did, I took the paper, which our paper is 8.5 by 11, and so I cut the strips off the 11-inch side. But whatever size you want to use would be fine. But that's what I did. I cut it off the length of the paper. Thanks for asking that. I forgot to say that. Okay, so we're going to switch gears entirely. Imagine that. What time is it? 2:30. We got time. So we're going to switch gears completely. If you have any more questions about those, be sure and ask. I just think that they're just such a fun thing, and I just thought, you know, okay, here's the deal. The Christmas holidays, or any holiday that becomes very commercialized, can become so frenzied and so crazy that we forget what's important, because you know, and I get caught up in it too. But you can get so frenzied with, you know, what I have to do and what I have to do, and I need to have this, I need to remember this person and that person, the other person, and have, you know, a gift or make a gift or whatever, and you can become so frenzied with it that you forget what the purpose of it is. And for different people, I'm going to say it's different for different people. And so I totally get that. But I just think that it's a wonderful season. We all need a season in our lives where we stop and we appreciate people. You know, we appreciate them for what they do, appreciate them for what they mean to us, because for whatever reason, I know I'm on my soapbox. I'm on a rant, but it's not a bad rant. we tend to take things for granted that those people that we care about and that we love just understand how important they are to us. You know, we just think, well, they get it. And you know what? Everybody needs to know in words, in writing, they need to hear it, they need to read it, they need to see it, they need to feel it. That's the thing. They need to feel how important they are to us and how valuable they are. So this was one of the ways that we did that, and I thought that was a fun thing to do. And it takes this, this takes no money to do. None. I mean, you could use recycled paper, and you could scrape paint on the recycled paper. It takes no money to do this. It does take time. But when you do something like this, although it takes no money to produce this, unless you go out and buy a container for it, it is an invaluable gift. Because I will tell you, when I did this for a family member, she kept every single one of them and put them in a journal. That's how important it was to her. So, there you go. That's the end of my rant. Okay, let's switch gears. And let's go to one of our papers that we created today. Thanks, Debbie. That was sweet. So this is the paper we created earlier. It's had plenty of time to dry, so it's got the yellows and stuff on one side. I need to get some stuff out of my way here. Too much stuff in the way. This is also not an original idea at all. And, it's okay. You don't have to have every idea be original at all. And so this is totally not. I'm going to use this, and I have a tag. This is the tag shape that came from a package of tags. So I copied it straight from the package of tags, and it's got, coincidentally, 2 colors on it. So you can use, if you have a big enough paper cutter, you could cut these with a paper cutter. I'm just going to cut them using good old-fashioned scissors. So I'm going to just lay these on my paper right here. And all I do is trace around the tag. That's my pattern. This could be a manila tag, right? And then I mark the hole just so I have it. And then you can just line them up like little soldiers, like so. And you could just cut out all kinds of tags. I pay no attention to where the color is going to line up. I'm going to just let that happen, okay? I don't care. It's an artsy-fartsy thing going on here. Thanks, Sue. All right. I was going to show you, I'll do it next week. I was going to show you my books because I have several books, and I know that a lot of you are new to my channel or new to me, and you don't know that I am also an author. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I've written 3 books, and I was going to show them to you today, but I forgot to pull them out. So I'll show them to you next week if I can remember. If I don't remember, somebody remind me, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit about the reason each one of them happened and so forth. It might be something you might want to put on your list of things that you might want to have. Also, HowToGetCreative.com is our membership website. If you are interested in, if you like what I do and you want more of what we do, you can always check that out at HowToGetCreative.com. We have different levels of membership. We have a $1 trial, so you can see if you even like what I do. There. We also have a monthly membership, and then we also have a VIP membership. And the VIP members get a private class every month. So we have different kinds of things to hopefully have something for everybody. Okay, so I'm just cutting off the upper edges like so, and then I have two punches here. One is the 1/4 inch hole punch. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, you can see right in there. That's a 1/4 inch hole punch. And this one is a punch that is a corner chomper, and it has a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. You see it says 1/4 inch right here and 1/2 inch diameter punches. Dorothy says the calligraphy books you made me buy came today. You're welcome, Dorothy. You're welcome. So here is my dot. So I'm going to look through that and line it up inside my little hole punch. And I've got all three of them at once, because these are by We Are Memory Keepers. They are power punches, they're called. And this one is called a power punch, and it punches really well through multiple sheets. And then down here at the bottom of these tags, I'm going to just line them all up, and I'm going to chomp them all at the same time. And this is with the 1/4 inch chomp, 1/4 inch diameter. This one looks like I didn't get it quite in there quite accurately. Sometimes you gotta true them up a little bit. Sometimes doing 3 at a time is not a great idea. Okay. Anyway, good enough. Okay, so now we have 3 tags. Okay, so we have 3 tags, and we have a choice of sides that we can do different things on. And the inspiration from this came from ClothPaperScisors. I did put the link below in the description box, and I'll show you the printout. I think you can still get these. And this is from ClothPaperScisors. This is from November 2014 by Cherie Haas. And so they're different tags using kind of a Zentangle inspiration. And they're fun to do, and so I thought we'll just play around with it. Patty says someday she'll have a job and can afford a membership. She's too afraid to try it for a month. She's afraid she'll love it so much and be sick that she couldn't buy the membership. Okay. Dorothy says she did the $1 membership and now she signed up as a VIP. Yes, you did, Miss Dorothy. Okay, so we have this, and so let's play with this a little bit. Let's use the green. Let's use this one, just because. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play with this concept of the tree that I just showed you, and this is pretty much going to be a copy straight from what they did. I'm going to put a piece of white paper on this nasty table. If I can find where I put my white paper. Here we go. We can at least block out a little bit of it. Okay. So let's I'm not afraid to say that sometimes I just blatantly copy something. They put it out there on the web for you to do that, and you can still take it and make it your own thing, right? Even though you're starting by pretty much a direct inspiration from a website. I expect people to copy what I do. I do like it when they give me credit if they copy something, but hey, let's do it. So I'm going to start out with a star. that I cut a bunch of stars from this little pack of Nestabilities. They're nesting dies, nesting star dies. And I just cut each one of them out from these nesting stars. I'll show you what they look like. Just so I'd have them as a little, see how they look? You get 5 of them. And I just cut them out like so. So I just cut them out. And I did that so that I had them to be able to use as little patterns. So I'm going to use the T-Tiny one. And I'm going to use a pencil to start with to do this. And I'm going to just kind of center my little star right about there. And I'm going to draw around it. I don't think you're ever going to see that in pencil, so I'm just going to live dangerously and go with it with a black pen. You would do this in pencil if you were doing this in real life, as we say. So I'm going to start at the top of my tree, and I'm going to draw my star on the top of my tree. Now, these take some time to do, but again, there's very little material cost. Hi, Kalina. I forgot if that's your right name. Anne says, I love that puff star. I think I know a kid who is going to see that and want to make some. Good. I hope he does. Okay, so I do this in pencil first, okay? I'm doing it in ink pen just so you guys can have a chance to see it. From there, I'm going to draw a tree. Now, this is really dicey when you're doing this with no pencil. This is like drawing with no net. All right, so here we go. We'll see what happens. All right. And I'm using a gel pen. You could use whatever kind of pen you want. And your tree can get very wonky. Okay, my gel pen is being cantankerous, so I'm going to switch to a micron pen. And then I'm just going to put a little tree trunk down at the bottom. Okay? There we go. And I will straighten up my tree as I go along. If you're going to work with a felt tip pen like this, you got to make sure that the paint underneath is completely dry. If it's not, you're going to not like yourself because you're going to ruin your pen. And here's the thing about stuff like this. In fact, I'm going to do it on this. If you will, when you're doing things like this, go over it a second or third time. So that you are not using you're not trying to repeat exactly the same line. It's even better. So that way you have kind of a wonky, the wonkiness of it is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to do I'm going to just draw some like garland kind of lines going kind of diagonally across my tree. Okay, so let me show this to you close up so you can see what. So you can see what I mean by wonky, right? Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Oh, good, Anne. Thanks for being here. Hi, Signa. We're just doing some Christmassy kinds of things today. We did some puffed stars earlier. We did a little Gelli Plate printing, and now we're making some tags. All right, so now you can do, you can decorate your little tree any way that you want it. I'm going to show you this is the one that came directly from the, inspired directly from the ClothPaperScisors information called Doodle December. And so this is it's not a copy, but it is heavily inspired by what they did. But let's do something different on this one, just because I think it would be fun to do that. So on this one, let's write some words in here. So I'm just writing the word peace and going over it a couple of times. Okay, so I've got the word peace written in there like it's written on a banner that's going around the tree. Maybe down here we could write celebrate. And because I don't have enough room, I'm just going to let it pretend like the ribbon is curling around the other side of the tree. Again, another reason you want to do it in pencil so that you can mark out if you want to get the whole word on there. Okay, so we'll let it pretend it's gone on around the tree. In fact, we'll make the ribbon look like it has gone on around the tree. All right. And then maybe we'll put one down here and we'll just put love. And you can thicken up the letters as much as you want, and so forth and so on. Then you can come back and to make some of the ribbons, I like the ribbons, some of the ribbons to be dark. Like these are, really black. Some of these are really black. I switch and use a brush pen and fill those in with a brush pen because it's going to take forever to try and do that with a little tiny felt tip. Now you could do this with any other kind of felt tip or color of felt tip as well. It does not have to be black, certainly. I just think it's kind of an interesting way to do it. But your brush pens, and this one is getting low on ink, your brush pens will make much faster work of this than trying to use something else, some other kind of pen, in my opinion. Okay, so we've got a couple of little ribbons on here. We're going to add some tree trunk, some bark. Looks like bark on the trunk. So I just do some kind of squiggly lines. And maybe put some knots in the trunk. So just adding some squiggly lines to suggest bark down there. Maybe put another knot here. And then you can come in here and add some additional lines like so. Just little single lines like this. And then you can come in, and I do what I call beading the line. So I just add little dots across those lines. You see, once you do one, then you kind of take off in your own direction and do whatever you want. Or you can do that to begin with. Okay, so maybe up here on the star, we do and maybe color in, I'll switch to the other pen, color in the center star, because I just created another little star shape in there. So you can just color it in, and then you can just decorate that little star however you want. Do you see, this takes there's no investment really of materials in this. It's just fun and just doing it. Then you can take your gel pens, and let's see if I can find one that has some color in it. You can come back then with your gel pens, and you can add things to the branches, add ornaments and so forth, and embellish it as much as you want. Then you can use the tags when you're finished. You can use the tags as a gift tag. You could use the tag as a gift itself. And then you just keep playing and playing and playing. And then maybe we'll go to a white gel pen. See if I've got a white one here. I do somewhere. Here we go. And then you can come back over the black ribbons. And you could also use opaque gel pens to do this, because the opaque gel pens will show up over the black. And add some embellishment. Make it a polka dot ribbon. And play with it, okay? Then if you want to add, as inspired by Zentangle, you can use a really soft pencil and put just the tiniest amount of graphite here and there. Like I can put this right under on either side of the ribbon. I mean, I am barely touching it. So just the tiniest little bit of graphite on either side of this ribbon where the word should be spelled all the way out. It isn't. And then use a blending stump and you can blend the graphite to cause some shading, which is very typically done with Zentangle type patterns. And so this is not really a Zentangle. This is just kind of a Zentangle kind of inspiration. And so anything that goes under something else, you can add a little bit of the graphite to. Like the trunk is under the tree, so we'll put a little graphite there. And the branches, if you want to set the tree up off the background, you can put a little bit of the graphite. I'll just do half the tree here. But this is a 6B, so it's a very, very soft lead. And then the blending stump will blend the graphite and help the branches pop away from the card. And so forth. Okay, so we'll take a look at it. Yeah. Rhonda says, great to send as a Christmas card. Sorry, send as a Christmas card and let the recipient hang them on the tree. Sure. So you kind of get the idea of it, right? So you can see this side has got the shading done on it. You can play with that all you want. You know, obviously spell your word correctly. Okay, so here's the one that is directly inspired by ClothPaperScisors. This is, I was using their design by looking at it and reproducing it pretty closely with a little bit of variation. So you get the idea. I'm just after giving you some ideas. And then the back side of this tag, you know, has other colors on it because that was what was on that paper. Then I used my sewing machine and I stitched around the outside edge of the tag. And the thread that I used to do this wasn't this color, but this is the thread that I used, the type of thread. And it is sulky thread, and this is 12 weight thread. This is a heavy thread, okay? This is much heavier than you would ever sew anything with as far as like clothing. This is a decorative thread. So this is 12 weight, all right? So this is heavy, and that means that you have to use a heavy needle. So I used a 90 top stitching needle, because you have to poke a big enough hole in the paper to pave the way for the thread to go through. But I like having that look of the heavier stitching around the outside edge. So when you use a heavy thread, you only use that in one area of the machine. You use it either in the needle or in the bobbin, but I don't use it both places. So I used just a regular thread in the back. So you can see how much lighter that looks. Okay, so that's what I did to finish it off. And then my little stuff at the top, my little fibers at the top, these are ribbon floss. I do not even know if this stuff is still available. It comes like this. Came like this. I don't know if this is still available. This is leftover from when I had my store years ago. But it's called ribbon floss, and you could use it in your sewing machine in the bobbin. And so I just took a bunch of pieces of that, tied it together, and made a little tag topper, whatever you call this stuff, fiber at the top. And it is very slick. So I did put some glue under there, right under here, so that they wouldn't come out. Okay? And that's all you do. That's all I did for that little tag. But it is cute done on the green and black. I think it's cute. Can any machine handle that thread? Your machine, I won't say that any machine can handle it, only because I don't know your specific machine. I would say most machines will be able to do it with the right needle and the right thread. Most machines can do it because it's just a straight stitch. There's nothing magic about that. And I started and stopped up here at the top. So when I put the fibers over it, and I did also add a little bit of glue over my threads, just very carefully when I cut them so they wouldn't come unstitched. And I started and stopped up here at the top of the tag so that when I put these on top, it hid my threads. So that's what I did. Okay, let's go back to, let's do another tag, shall we? Just another idea. So let's play with this idea. And again, the reason I have this white paper here is just to kind of block out some of the mess from my mat. So let's take one of this one. And so we're going to, this is one we created today. Oh, and I also did ink around the edges. So I did ink around the edge of this, and I used library green. So I'm using library green in the archival ink with a piece of blending foam, and so I did ink around the edge. So that's how I did that one. Okay, so let's play with this one a little bit. So what I have is this is the one that the tag or the paper that we did today. I'm going to use the same star things that I cut out. So these are die cuts. I'm just using them as my pattern. Okay. So I'm going to use this just like this. I'm going to try and replicate what I did on this other one. We'll see whether I can or not. And again, I would use a pencil to do this and then go back over it with ink. But we're going to live dangerously. We're going to go straight for ink. All right, so I'm going to just, and this is just cardstock, and I'm using it just as a pattern. Okay, so I'm going to start with the one that is on top, which is the big one. All right, here we go. Wish me luck here. And I've tipped the star. All right, so I've tipped it. I don't have anything straight on. And I'm letting it run off the tag. All right, we made it around that one. Yay! All right, then I'm going to take another star, and we'll just use this one. I don't know which one I used for sure. Let's see. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one I used. Okay, so this star is going to be behind the big star. And so I'm going to, let's see if I can, it's not going to be exactly the same, so we're just going to have to, let's go. We'll go like this. All right, so for this to be behind this star, you have to be careful that you don't cross any lines from the big star, okay? This is, you'll see what I mean here. Okay, so you see what I mean? By not crossing any lines, then this one will be behind that one. Alrighty, now we're going to take, let's take this little tiny star. Well, let's take the next big one because you can see it better. So I'm going to take the next biggest star, not the teensy one, but the next one. And what I want to do is have this point in line with this point because I'm going to have it look like it's hanging. All right, and I'm going to have it kind of straight with the world, sort of. Okay, like so. So I've got 3 stars on here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my little hangers. So I want this one hanging like this. So I'm just going to hang that star right there. This one, I'm going to let it go and hang like it's off the top of the, coming from the top of the tag. And I'm going to color these kind of thick line. Like so. Okay, so I'm going to let them be kind of a thick line. Now this one, we can either decide that it's, you know, hanging somewhere strange, or we can go ahead and put a hanger in. And so I'm going to put my star back in here so I know where the point is exactly. And then I'm going to use another piece of cardstock to kind of guide me as to where that hanger would be. Okay? So it's going to come behind the big star, and it's going to come up like that. So visually, your eye will connect it to the point of that star. And then again, I'm going to make this kind of a thick line. So just add some ink to it to give it some thickness. And you'll understand why I'm doing that in a minute. Okay, so we have our hangers and we have our stars hanging. Now, just for, because I think it's fun to do, I like to give the stars some thickness. And so, and you're going to see that I'm going to have a problem to work around here in a minute, but that's all right. It's a good thing to show you. I'm going to add thickness to the edge so it looks like that star has an edge on it. And I'll deal with this in a minute. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come straight out. And then I'm going to add the thickness to this side. You only want to do this to one side of each point of the star. Okay? So it's on the left side of each point. So from this star, turn it around, and I'm going to come down the left side of this one. Okay? Turn it around and down the left side of this one. And I'm going to have the same issue here. Where I'm going to have something I have to work around because I've got some conflicting lines in there, but we'll deal with it. All right, now for the other stars, you can do the same thing. So if I want to go with the left side, then I will, let's see, this one. As many of these as I have drawn over the years, I still have to think about it. I know. Crazy, huh? And if you mess it up and you get something wonky, just make something out of it. All right, then we've got this little bitty one, and we'll do the same thing on it. So we're going to come out and down. Okay, so we're going to come down. All right, so let me show you. Okay, I'm zoomed in really far so you're going to see all the bobbles and carrying on. So this is going to have to be dealt with. And this is going to have to be dealt with in here. You know, and if you pre-planned all that stuff, that would be different. But I don't pre-plan all of it. I just go for it. Okay? And yes, we have this little piece right here. Thanks for reminding me about that. Okay, so we got that little piece right in there. Okay, so now that we look at this and we go, okay, we've got a big old thick line right there. So that's going to be incorporated into the design. And what I'm going to do is just add patterning inside that little space that I added. And by incorporating that line where the hanger was already drawn, you just incorporate that and just change it into a pattern. Okay, so that's how you deal with it. Yeah, so you just do with it. Just have fun with it. Okay, and I don't necessarily do the same thing on every side. You know, sometimes I'll change it up, or I'll do the same thing as we, you know, all the way around. Doesn't matter. We'll do the same thing just because. And honestly, I start in the middle. I don't start at the end of one of them. I don't start at the end of one shape. I'll start in the middle and work out. It works better for me to do that. I don't know why. It's the way my brain thinks. Okay, so you see, you get the idea. So I've got the same little pattern going, and then we're going to come down here. Let's just deal with this one while we're down here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start here. So that we make sure that we incorporate that little hoo-ha there, where things didn't line up quite as I anticipated. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. And this micron pen that I'm using to do this happens to be a number 3, an O3 actually. If you were doing this with an O1, it would take you a long time to do that. And then we have this other little space over here. And no one's any the wiser that we had those little glitches in there to work around. Okay? Patty says, starting in the center helps to build a balanced design. Very good. All right, then you just pick another design, another thing that you want to use, and use it on the next one. So, for example, we're going to do a zigzag. So we'll do a zigzag in these, and for this star. And then inside each little zig or zag, I'm going to put another little tiny triangle inside there. Now this is where you might want to drop down to a finer point on your pin, finer nib size. If your nib is too fat, you'll fill in the space too much. But I'm not going to sweat it. We're going to live dangerously. Yeah, we are. Because why not? So it's not perfection, but you'll get the idea. Okay? Perfection is highly overrated, by the way. All right, and then the last thing is to do the same thing on the little tiny one, which I don't know that we need to do that because you got the idea. And then you're going to be able to see how I drew some curved lines, and I put some words inside the curved lines. So this says celebrate, peace, and this one says love. And I added some little diamond shapes out here on this one, which you can do. You could add embellishments. As you wish, on the different star points and stuff like that. And on this one, I also added a little bit of graphite shading on either side of the banners. So you can see a little bit of gray shading there, a little gray shading here. And that's done the same way, using the same graphite and the blending stump. So a blending stump like this, and just blending it out. And where this star is on top of that one, I put a little shading around it. So you can do that. Now on these hanger bits, you can see that super close up. That's closer than you would ever look at it, but I'll show you what I did there. I used a gold Gelli Roll pen, and this gold Gelli Roll pen is a pretty bold tip. It's a metallic, so it's a really bold, thick tip, so you have to be a little careful with it. You can do just some little curved lines, or slanted lines, or dotted lines, whatever you want to do. And it will kind of give the impression or suggestion that the rope is black and gold and it's twisted. And that's fun to just add that. You can also color in the little diamond shapes with gold or silver or white or some other color of Gelli Roll. But you get the idea, where it just kind of gives it the effect that it's a twisted rope. Okay. And then for this one, I used the sewing machine. I used the same thread. I just used a heavier or a different color. It's the same 12 weight thread. I stitched around the outside edge. And I used the very same fibers, just different colors in the to tie at the top of the tag. And that's it. And then on the other side you have another color. So you could actually do another little artwork thing on the back side if you wanted, make it a double-sided tag. So you can get some ideas as to, what kinds of things you like to do that don't require a lot of money, require time. And I think often that when you give your time to people, it's even it's even a more makes the act of giving a gift even more special. Now, there are going to always be people out there that think if you don't spend a lot of money on a gift for them, that, you know, you're a cheapskate or whatever, but, you know, so what? I would much rather give my time. Okay, I think that was all I intended to show you. Oh, and the inking around this one, I used this color of ink, which is called vermilion. I don't know if you can see that, vermilion. That's the color of ink that I put around the edge of the star. I think that's it. I think that's what I intended to show you today. So, anybody got any questions? Thanks, Nancy. Hi, Lottie. Thank you. All right, shall we get the sponsors out? Chance is at the door. Get my little Santa so you can see him. Chance is at the door. He's ready. He is ready to come out. Let's see. Did I tell you everything? I think I did. So if you're watching the recording, the links to pretty much everything I used, I try to put all the links to the products and stuff that I used in case you're interested in more information. I try to put that down below in the description box. And yeah, so we'll get the sponsors. So those of you that don't wish to see the sponsors, thanks for joining me. All right, here we go, boys. Yes. Oh, boy. I know. Life is rough. Life is rough in that room, isn't it? Chance is always the first one out. Yes, he's always the first one out. Because life is terrible in there. Now, understand that as soon as I am, you know, turning off the cameras and stuff, they'll be right back in there. Yes. Whoop, there we go. They will go right back in there. But if they don't want the door, they don't want the door shut. That's the problem. No doors should be shut when there are Siamese cats. Ever. They should never have shut doors. You want to come up? All right, come here. Come here. Here you go. Lie down and say hello to the world. Lie down and say hello to the world. Okay. There we go. Chance and Charlie, we have made it through another stream, boys. We've made it through another stream. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We did it again. Yes. Chance and Charlie Owen, that is right. Okay. So I guess you can see them both right there. Lay down, Charlie. All right. So since cat wrangling is just about to start, I'm going to go. So don't forget to check out HowToGetCreative.com if you're interested in more of what I do. Love to have you join there. And I will see you next week. And same time, same place. That's 2 p.m. Eastern. That's when we start. As close to that as we can on Fridays. And I will see you next week. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week till I see you next time. And remember to get creative today because you know it's easy. See you next time. Bye for now.